taught this. It's the conditioning part. Like we're taught, like, be helpful, be nice, be easy, don't be too much, don't be too loud, don't be too confident, don't be too honest.
I really relate to that. And if you think about it from a professional sense, like I remember when I was saying yes to everything, doing everything, and not just like, I'm not talking like just the office housework, but feeling like I didn't have value, I was not able to shine at work. I wasn't able to be myself. I wasn't able to relax and be in this kind of like creative zone that you needed to be in to be able to actually thrive and achieve.
Hi, I'm Natasha.
And I'm Penny.
And welcome back to the WIBS. Today we're going to talk about overcompensating. If you have me on any group chat, I have sent you the new show, Overcompensating.
I am so excited for this show.
Too obsessed with it. Like, I just feel like it's exactly what we needed in a series. It was just unreal. It was just so good. It just brought back every single millennial, like 90s movie that I would watch.
Like, how did they get the outfits so factually, like everything down to the last detail?
It was just
like, wow, I really was wearing that like silver denim. It was beautiful. That's upsetting.
It's beautiful. It's funny. The thing I like about it the most was I think it said, like, people are too scared nowadays to say too much, especially in series. Like, a lot of comments that you hear is like, you watch a series and it's very woke and whatnot. And I understand why media does this. It's to educate, and I totally respect that. But what I really love about this show is it educates. It educates in a really patronizing way. So, like, it'll, like, so many things, like whether it's about sexuality or you know, how you perceive popularity, all of these things, it really puts a shine on it, and how like stupid we can look and act to try and overcompensate to be something or someone. So when we're talking about it in my 17,000 group chats that I was talking about, and then Penny and I were chatting about it, and it kind of brought us to, you know, as women, how do we overcompensate? We're thinking about it and we're talking about it and just talking about overcompensating as a theme. And whilst this show has different themes in it, and it does focus on very different things, we kind of started word mouth vomiting just how many ways as women we overcompensate in life.
Yeah, and I think especially at work. Like we see it a lot. Like I know I've spoken about this on this podcast before, but that feeling of I don't know if I do quite enough in my role, so I need to make myself valuable and I need to do X, Y, and Z smaller, like little, maybe more insignificant tasks to make me a more well-rounded person, to make sure that, you know, if I'm being, you know, a more like assertive, not aggressive, assertive person in my professional life, well, I better make sure I plan the birthday party so I don't come across like a bitch. So
we're doing all of these things to overcompensate for whether it is like we feel insecure or we want to make other people feel better, or we're not sure we're as like why can't we just do our job? Like, why do we have to overcompensate in the workplace, where it's like if something happens, it's like, oh, I'll take the notes, I'll do the birthday, I'll do this. That comes from somewhere. And some people have it, some people don't. I know this isn't just a gender-related thing. However, you do see more women putting their hand up for things like that. There was a study that I read that 56% of women soften their language, organise events, and take meeting notes just to stay likable.
Yeah, it is. It's a sense of likability, or even like putting other people at ease before yourself. And I too saw a beautiful study, and it was called The Invisible Labour Holding Women Back at Work and How to Push Back Against It. So it's called the office housework. It's costing women opportunities at work, and it's things like the note taking, like what you said, the onboarding of new hires. Oh my God, let me show you around for the day type stuff. The planning of events, the scheduling of meetings, the taking of notes, the ordering of the lunches. It just ends up being this thing where I feel like you're doing these things that don't advance you in your professional career. It isn't compensated, and it's something that potentially would hold you back
100%.
In what you need to do in your life. And it's like you know, the tie to overcompensating is there, because it's like, I can personally speak to this. Like, I feel like we do those things because you don't want to be seen as someone who isn't agreeable or who isn't enough, or there's so many reasons.
Put my hand up for everything just to be liked. I use my time as currency to be liked. 100%. 100%. I'm the first one whenever I join a new group of something. I'll do it. Oh, no, I'll do it. Don't worry. I'll do it. Then you say you're going to do something. You say you're going to do something. And then you end up like sitting there burnt out, staring at a wall, being like, whoa, I've said yes to a lot. And that's what happens. It causes burnout. But we overcompensate in a lot of different things. Like this, only 36% of women have never faked an orgasm.
Like, at work.
Seriously though. Well, look here, there's probably a study there as well. But let's actually I just want to dig into that, because women are faking it to not hurt their partner's ego. There's no other reason. It's not for your own enjoyment. You're not faking it for your enjoyment. You are purely overcompensating in that environment to make someone else feel better about themselves. It's the pinpoint of that social conditioning that we feel in every space, and whether it's intimacy, whether it's workplace, whether it's friendships, that need to overcompensate and make other people feel good, while at the expense of your self-care, at the expense of who you are. And
you're right in what you're saying there. It's like whether it's at work or whether it's at home or with your partner or wherever, it's like that need, that emotional burden that you take on for other people.
That's it.
To keep everything cool and calm and collected and meet other people's expectations.
Make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
At the expense of yourself. And it's that overcompensating, and it's that hill and this is a Women in Business podcast, so I'm speaking to women, is that women hold in particular because of these different things that we're exposed to and the conditioning. There's just so many different things, like the birthdays, the housework, the different aspects of life. TikTok, there was this for a while there was a viral thing called like birthday mental load, right? And it was getting millions of views of women who would be planning their own birthday celebrations, mums, right? So they'd be like mums, just like, it was getting like heaps of virality because it was so relatable about all these mums who rather like didn't have a birthday cake, because they're the ones who always organise it. They had to bake their own cake for their birthday. They had to organise their own things. And it was a really funny moment, really viral, funny moment. And I actually looked at that and I was like, why are we celebrating this?
Yeah, sad.
Why aren't we calling out their partners and saying, mate, hello? It's like it's like it's expected that women should just do that. Women should just do their own stuff, be a mum, organise all the stuff. I think what's really important listening to this, I want you to take some time to just like personally reflect on times that you've taken out too much just to look competent. Times that you've shrunk your ambition or emotion just to keep the peace. So there's times where you've sat back and been like, okay, maybe I'll quieten down so that they can perform.
Yeah.
Playing the good girl to avoid discomfort is another one, because you're always trying to be that good person and get that positive reinforcement. So it's like playing the good girl, like making sure like, oh yeah, I want to be good. I want people to praise me. You get addicted to validation. You get addicted to validation from the wrong places because it's not coming from authenticity. When you're doing it from you and who you are and you're being yourself, you'll get more praise than if you're doing it to be likable.
Yeah. Also, I think people have a pretty good bullshit detector as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're not being like genuine, people can tell, people can see. And if you're struggling to make connections, if you're struggling to build rapport with people at work, I really do believe that people can tell when you're being disingenuous.
100%. Look, we're taught this. It's like it's the conditioning part. Like we're taught like be helpful, be nice, be easy, don't be too much, don't be too loud, don't be too confident, don't be too honest. We get rewarded for, smoothing and like being nice and pleasing and happy. We get punished for being assertive. We get called bitches. We're this, we're that. There are so many areas that we're conditioned in everyday life, in everything that you see, you'll notice it. And the cost of all of this is burnout, resentment, being overlooked because you're not asserting yourself, losing a bit of your identity as well because you're trying so hard to be what other people want you to be that you're losing who you are.
I really relate to that. And if you think about it from a professional sense, like I remember when I was saying yes to everything, doing everything, and not just like, I'm not talking like just the office housework, but feeling like I didn't have value, I was not able to shine at work. I wasn't able to be myself. I wasn't able to relax and be in this kind of like creative zone that you needed to be in to be able to actually thrive and achieve. And as a result, I didn't grow. The jobs where I was able to come out of that and break out of that a bit and have a bit of fire and have a bit of like back and forth and say, hey, like I don't agree with that, or I would do it this way. Being able to be in that phase of my life allowed me to grow professionally. And I think that this is why we're talking about this today, because there is a cost to people pleasing. And
100% there is.
It's the lack of being able to actually be your authentic self, grow into the person that you're meant to be.
And how do you get over that? And I think, you know, talking through this and through the research, I really, really had to think about that, because I thought, you know, I definitely overcompensated more in my earlier career. But full transparency, in the earlier days of buying into this business, mate, was I overcompensating. I was like, I'm a business owner now. I'm going to show how good I am. I'm going to do all this stuff. I was just nonstop. I was overcompensating in every single aspect because I was so desperate to prove myself. I wanted to prove myself so bad. And since taking a step away from that and recognizing that and actually thinking to myself, okay, you were overcompensating there. It's not coming across great. And focusing on myself and building my skill sets and building my confidence within the business, the last 6 months, but then now, you know, first 6 months I was like that. Then the last 6 months, it's just happened, have been my best performing months. And that's because I'm no longer overcompensating. I'm not thinking about, you know, if I'm not thinking about the micro things, I'm really just focusing on myself and my work, and the performance is coming from that.
Yeah, and you can see it like in yourself. Like you take that moment to realize it. And I think that's why we're talking about it today, because it is such a big thing that we know a lot of women in their professional careers, whether it be for themselves or for working for other people, like struggle with. So there is a way to kind of overcome and like break off that cycle of overcompensation. You know, it is about prioritizing yourself. It is about figuring out, okay, is there a way for me to be able to show up authentically and to do something that I actually want to do. Like, but it also comes with knowing yourself a bit more and knowing what you want. Because I think that the side effect and the symptom of this is that you lose yourself a bit. You don't really know where you're at.
You do. 100%. I think the biggest thing to do is to back yourself and focus on yourself and focus on how you can stop focusing on others. Because that's the biggest thing about overcompensating is focusing on others and not yourself. And being able to put that mirror back on yourself, I think, is so, so important. If you ever have felt like you have overcompensated in the workplace, please put it on our post. We're going to post about the episode. We'll do an episode post, and I want you to tell us, you know, what's the wildest way that you've overcompensated in work. I think we've all done it, and I think if you're listening, you're like, I haven't done that. Have a think.
I think you'd be surprised, and like even if it comes down to, because like there's something in being able to prevent it and resolve it by like setting your own boundaries, you know, being very clear in what you will do for yourself. But I think that sort of reminds me of times where I've overcompensated, like, oh my God, I'm going to work until 11 o'clock at night because, you know, there's an expectation and like, or there's this thing that I'm not enough during the day. So I really need to prove myself. So I'm going to do all this work at night. And it's like, maybe you don't necessarily think about that as a mode of overcompensation.
But it is.
But it is.
Exactly. So let us know. And if you are not following us already, please follow us at the WIBS Pod on Instagram, TikTok. We will be YouTubing. We got it all. Sign up to our website. We do weekly newsletters. And we will be in your ears in 2 weeks' time.
We'll see you then.
Bye.